Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and today is Friday. Now I know a lot of you may not like me talking about my sons in baseball, but I have to tell you a quick story. As most of you know, I started training my younger son when he was 5 years old. That child has hit 2 buckets of baseballs 3 days a week since he turned 5, and he's done it year round because I wanted to teach my sons how you become the best at one thing. Now, I also make them get straight A's, which is even more important, and they know that. But baseball's just our little thing. Well, yesterday he was in the cage hitting. He's now 7. He's in the cage hitting, and probably the #1 baseball guru in the town that I live in walks up to the cage. I don't even know the guy. Walks up to the cage and points at my son, and he says, "How old is that kid?" And I told him, "He's 7 years old. I started him when he's 5, and he's a switch hitter." And that guy just shook his head and walked away. So apparently we're doing something right. It's going to be fun watching this kid. And I told both my sons, I'm taking you all the way through high school with this program, and let's just see if I teach you, if I have taught you how to become excellent at something. Okay. Now this is the market today. What you're looking at, the market has gone up. It's acting like it wants to start surging again, folks. We've got our XRP. I saw it around 33 cents this morning. XRP does not want to do pullbacks, and when it does pull back, it's tiny little amounts. Something's different, folks. All right, let's see here. Let's get started with this. First, I wanted to show you this. This is yesterday. David Schwartz had given a talk. Now, Ripple retweeted this. I don't know who Veeam is. Go Veeam. Veeam is the easiest way for businesses to pay and get paid. I'll follow them just because Ripple retweeted it. Great talk by David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple, talking about creating standards for payments. And this is a quote from David Schwartz. It's the connections between silos that we need to federate. Now, that's that word again, federate. So I went to Twitter, typed in federate, and this Cryptopolis video came up, and he's got a quote. XRP is like SMTP for money in the way SMTP federated all communication systems of the world. This is an older video from Chris Larson. I'm going to play at least some of it. I want you to, those of you that are new especially, I want you to understand. This is the second coming of the internet, but it's the internet of value instead of the internet of information. And if you own XRP, you are at ground zero of being a part of what this revolution is going to bring.
So we think what Bitcoin has done is just the tip of the iceberg of actually what's coming next once this technology has been introduced. And what is this, the broader thing that's going on here? We think it's this. It's that the world is already connected through an information web. People in China and Africa have access to the same marketplaces we all do right here in Las Vegas, whether it be Airbnb or Skype or Etsy. There is an information web that the world has succeeded in getting to everyone. And that is amazingly important and powerful. Unfortunately, though, that doesn't apply to payments or value or transactions. There is no value web. And why is that? It's because while it didn't matter if we sent the same email across the world 1 million times, who cares? Of course, it matters fundamentally if you can send the same piece of value more than once. And humans hadn't figured out how to do that until Bitcoin came along, until actually 2009. So this idea that this is a problem that couldn't be solved until this math-based currency came along, I think is incredibly powerful. And this is what Ripple focuses on. So whereas Bitcoin was sort of a currency without a central bank, the way we view Ripple is a payment platform, a value exchange platform without the need for a central clearinghouse. And if you can do that, then you actually have the possibility of trading value the way we trade information today. globally. That's incredibly powerful if we can all do that together. And again, how did that happen? That happened because the world solved the double spend problem. We now can actually send value once without a central clearinghouse. We know it's only going to be delivered once. Of course, Bitcoin does that through its mining system, which is powerful and fascinating. At Ripple, we thought we could do that in a different way that would solve some of the issues that would help us actually create a value web. Again, the currency coming second, but this idea of a payment protocol, a value web coming first. To do that, we needed different kind of elements of that confirmation without a central clearinghouse. So we needed it to be fast, a matter of seconds. We needed it to be multi-currency, so you could put anything in the Ripple ledger, currency agnostic, value agnostic. So you could have a currency exchange built right into the protocol. So that's what we set out to do when we decided on what method of confirmation we needed. We'll go into a lot of this in greater depth soon. But because of that method that we chose, we hope then that the world can get these kinds of benefits once you create this sort of value web. And that is, you can change value in any currency globally, basically for free, without a central clearinghouse, with no chargebacks. That's pretty awesome if we can do that. So again, what does Ripple look like? I'll just go through these pretty quickly, but it's peer-to-peer architecture, distributed systems. This is how our information web works. That's how our value web should work. And so that it's open, and it's open source now, that anybody can build any application they want without licensing it or paying fees or asking anybody's permission. Another way to look at it is this now gives the world a single global ledger. This now gives the world a single global ledger that holds value of any kind. And that's fundamentally different from how it's been in finance. Finance in the world today is still a pre-internet technology where it's a series of ledgers, all organized, all country by country. Every time you move between them, if you even can, you're incurring tons of extra costs. So the idea of a global ledger that everybody shares and agrees on the current state is fundamentally. Other ways to look at this are sort of like it's like an SMTP for value or SMTP for money. Just the way that SMTP federated all the communication systems of the world, the email systems. That's kind of what we can do for money.
There you go. I know that was a little bit long, but well worth you hearing. They're trying to create the SMTP for money, and that is a world changer. Okay, moving along. Free American Spirit sent me this, and it is this from Reza Bashash. I'm going to show you who he is first. He is he's the CTO of Coinfield, and I'll let you watch a video with him real quick first.
Solo Wallet is a secure way for users to store their Solo coins and XRP on a decentralized wallet. Solo will be released on mobile devices in the Apple Store and Google Play Store. I encourage you to download the Solo Wallet and try it for yourself and see how fast and secure and it's easy to use. Try sending Solo to your friends and they'll get it instantly within seconds.
Okay, so this guy put this tweet out. I'm glad to announce the collaboration between Solo core team and some team, Vitsevin, in the following areas. Solo and tokenized assets, stocks, and ETFs will be available on some. Some will be integrated on the Solo XRP decentralized wallet. I'm showing you guys this, I'm not getting paid or anything. I'm just showing you guys this because I wanted you, both of these, like Vitsevin, he's a developer for Spring. I mean, he's funded by Spring, and these guys are building on the XRP ledger, and so I'm showing these things to you for those reasons. This is sologenic.com, SOLOGENIC. You need to be aware if you're interested in the Solo token sale that's coming up. I can't buy any because I'm not in a legal country for that. So, but you can sign up for their public sale, which is going to be February 18th to February 25th. Okay, wanted to show you this as well. Cryptopolis. Who, for those of you that don't know, he's a friend of mine, but Cryptopolis has, I think, well over 30 years in investing. This guy has created trading software, is my understanding. has been very successful in the arena of investing and the markets, and is a very smart, very smart guy. He did this Beyond Moon and Wealth Management with myself and always amicable one and only. This is Jerry Hall, who has the on the chain.io. He does his own YouTube channel. Well, these guys did a video. I was going to let you see the beginning of it, because what Cryptopolis is doing, well, he'll tell you what he's doing. Listen to this.
A lot of money. Okay, Jerry. Let's talk about three things today. Three major factors that we're going to be talking about as far as goals go, because you know what? Sudden wealth can happen to anybody, I think. And especially if you're in crypto. You never know what's going to happen in crypto. And you can be a pauper one day, and you could be a multimillionaire the next day. And it's
okay. So I wanted you to get the gist of it. What he's doing is Cryptopolis is teaching you, and he's doing videos, and I think he even has courses on how to increase, how to deal with it. What do you do? Let's say tomorrow you have $1 million or $10 million from crypto or whatever. What do you do? How do you, because that's the hard part, folks. How do you keep your wealth? And how do you make an income off of your wealth? And he goes through all kinds of strategies, and he's a very smart guy. All right, XRP Crypto Wolf President Trump's nominee to the Federal Reserve Board, Judy Shelton, told lawmakers that digitizing the U.S. dollar could help maintain the USD's ascendancy in global commerce. Shelton said the U.S. needs fintech innovation to stay ahead of other countries. Now, this is the article that he's tweeting here, and I want you to listen to what she has to say about digital currencies. Let me see, maybe I need to do a refresh here. It's at the 258 mark if you're wanting to find this yourself. Hold on one sec.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you both. I know there's been a lot of talk about address the need to have digitization as a potential property of the dollar.
Thank you, Senator Cotton. I think that's an extremely important discussion, and I agree with your assessment. I think we're compelled to think about that. The dollar is the most important instrument of soft power that we have around the world. And yes, it is the dominant reserve currency, but we can't rest on our laurels in that regard, because as you suggested, rival nations are working very diligently to have an alternative to the dollar. And while they can't beat us as a currency, they can add features, because there is a demand for digital access to banking services, to payments. And I think it's very important that we get ahead of the curve to ensure that the dollar continues to offer the best currency in the world, the most respected, the most utilized, and we need fintech innovation to keep us going in the right direction and to be a leader instead of passively observing what other countries might do.
Okay, I wanted you to hear that. Now, look, the bottom line is this, folks, and I'm going to say something this is just purely what I believe, having with all of my reading, research, study, and everything else. I believe that somewhere in the mix of all of this, that XRP and Ripple is the U.S. government's secret weapon, or one of them, not the secret weapon. Well, actually, maybe the secret weapon. There's not one part of me that does not believe that XRP and the Interledger Protocol is not literally the secret weapon of the U.S. and probably many other countries around the world. That is the conclusion that I have come to after many, many years of being in this. And that may sound out there, but I'm just telling you, I've seen enough. Okay. And this is from XRP Darren. They're intentionally trying to crash the system. And this is the same woman you just saw. More recently, however, Shelton has come under criticism for supporting President's position that interest rates already are historically low, should be cut further. Now, look, I think this keeping interest rates low and wanting to lower them more than anything has to do with Trump wanting to be reelected. But I also believe that Trump is aware, it has a plan with regard to digital assets, and I think it's a very specific plan. And I think XRP and the Interledger Protocol is a part of it in one way or another. Okay, Michael at VAL5 Links, say it ain't so. No, not pump. As of press time on February 13th, the Twitter account of co-founder Morgan Creek Digital and noted crypto personality Anthony Pompliano has been suspended. He was suspended from Twitter, and I think, basically they're showing you a tweet that he did that they think the reason why. Donald Trump had tweeted this out about his I think it was Bloomberg. No, Bloomberg had tweeted this out about Trump. And then Pomp, I guess, took that opportunity to reply to the tweet because he thought he would get some exposure. And he put, want to learn about Bitcoin and blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies, join 40,000 other investors and sign up. And so Pomp was doing a little bit of marketing there. And I don't know if that's why they kicked him off or not. Who knows? Now, I saw this tweet. This is interesting and definitely worthy of you seeing. Michael Arrington, for those of you that don't know, started XRP, Arrington XRP Capital. I think that's it, Arrington XRP Capital. He's also obviously a friend of Brad Garlinghouse. I've seen him around the guy, and I was even in a picture with Michael Arrington and Brad Garlinghouse. Michael Arrington is super bullish on Ripple and XRP, and here he tells you point blank. Roses on the Moon asked him, Michael Arrington, are you still this bullish on XRP? Extremely. That's all he said. Now, folks, this guy's plugged in Silicon Valley. He's the founder of TechCrunch, which is a tech media platform. He knows what's going on, folks. He's not stupid. I was really surprised by how big the guy was. He's like a football. I'm a big guy. I'm about 6'3". This guy, now I've shrunk some since I was as I've gotten older, but Arrington is at least 6'4", 6'5", and barrel chested like a freaking lineman. I mean, he's big. In fact, I told him he could go play for the Atlanta Falcons. We need him. Okay, digital asset investor. I tweeted this out yesterday. Ripple had tweeted this out. Previously, for cross-border payments, you had to have bank relationships in every country, pre-funded accounts. Now you can go into a new market in a matter of weeks and source liquidity through XRP on demand. It's a game changer. And then they're talking about how Ashish Birla is at a Goldman Sachs tech conference to explain to the Goldman Sachs boys. So I tweeted this out. FYI, when you see Ashish Birla schooling the Goldman Sachs boys on XRP, it's bullish, very bullish. Hashtag zeroed out. Remember, these are the same people who talked down since 2013 when I got in this. All these investment bankers, all these investment guys had thumbs down to all of this. In fact, the Goldman Sachs, the retired CEO, is it Blankfein? He just shook his head. He just didn't get it. And, Bitcoin, I'm not into all that. And that may have been the reason they retired him. They may have told him it was time to be put out to pasture. I don't know. But when you see Ripple execs on the stage at Goldman Sachs Tech Conference explaining to them how important XRP is going to be, if you've ever seen anything bullish for XRP, look no further than this right here, because Goldman Sachs is ground zero for money of the world, period. It's the most important company when it comes to money in the entire world. These guys are like a spider web in the U.S. government. They go from the SEC to Goldman Sachs and the Federal Reserve and back again. It's like a carousel. And if you've ever seen anything that you should look at and say, whoa, maybe I ought to buy some of that XRP, that's it. And I'm not a financial advisor, used to be, but I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm just telling you, pay attention to this. This means something. Okay, lighting the way, cryptocurrency lending startup BlockFi has secured $30 million from an array of investors, including Morgan Creek Digital, Winklevoss Capital, and Arrington XRP Capital. I just wanted to show you that. Now, this video may be a little bit longer, but that's because we have entered what many think is a bull market, and I'm getting just pounded with more information than normal, and so I'm just having to do it. And I think everybody's interested right now, so why not? Lighting the way sounds like the making of a sequel, The Big Short 2, The Fix That Never Was. HSBC is considering creating a bad bank to house billions of dollars of unwanted assets and businesses as a part of a radical overhaul. Folks, the banks and central banks, they come up with all sorts of weird schemes and different types of things to cover up for the fact that they have built a house of cards for decades, and that house of cards is now crumbling, and digital assets are the answer. And so, yeah, create a bad bank, do whatever you want. I'm going to invest in XRP. Okay, Michelle Vandenberg sent me this. Binance added support for buying crypto with 15 additional fiat currencies via Visa and MasterCard through all these fiat currencies now, okay? More and more gateways, more and more liquidity, or more and more pairings, more and more liquidity. Name of the game, liquidity, liquidity, liquidity. Dilip Rao tweeted this. Ripple had tweeted this out yesterday about in order to effectively tap the APAC market, it's important to have global reach with locally relevant service offerings. All right. Now, he says, Dilip Rao says, regional interoperability of payments in APAC needs a cross-border real-time liquidity solution. CBDCs will suffer the same fate as fiat currencies. In other words, they can come out with central bank digital currencies, but they're not going to limit their ability to print more of them, folks. You can still print more digital currencies as long as you design it the right way, but not XRP. There's only going to be 100 billion. Remember that. Or Bitcoin. It's never going to be more than 21 million. So only a neutral bridge like XRP on a licensed compliant network of FIs makes sense. And then XRP Crypto Wolf comes in and says, this statement is extremely bullish, considering that Dilip Rao was Ripple's global head of infrastructure and innovation before he retired. So Dilip definitely knows what he's talking about, since he would talk to many central banks around the world about XRP for this very reason. Okay, then we've got this from XRP Darren. I just wanted to show you the opening part of this. This is the CTO of R3. And R3, remember, R3, I've told you, R3, when the history books are written, will be one of the most important companies in the history of the world. R3, Ripple, PolySign, remember those names. DTCC, remember all those names. Swift, all of that, okay? Listen to this. This is the CTO. Remember, we've talked for 2 years about how everybody that knows what XRP is and knows what Ripple is, and many of them investors, won't say the words. They will not say the words. The Treasury Secretary has met with Brad Garlinghouse, but you won't hear him say Ripple and XRP. The Feds, they've met. The White House, they know who Ripple is. They know what XRP is, but they won't say the words. Now, the R3 CTO, apparently he's not allowed to say the words either. Don't take my word for it. Listen to his words.
You still working with Ripple at all?
Wait a minute. Let me refresh this and play that. Hold on.
You still working with Ripple at all as a company? I know that there was some extracurricular activity that was working its way through the courts, but and it's since been resolved. But I'm curious if there's ongoing discussions, since one of their primary focus is on the interbank settlement component that you're also touching.
So frankly, Ripple's probably the only topic I can't talk about. So I just don't talk about it. I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it.
And the genesis for this call, really.
To me, that is just hilarious what you just saw. I just can't talk about it. Well, I think a lot of people can't talk about it. I think there's a lot of NDAs. I think that the fact that they can't talk about it is one of the things that has locked me onto this more than anything. Now, from Keith Taubin, he sent me, there's a YouTube channel that you need to pay attention to. And this is one of their viral videos that all of you should go and take the time to watch. I think that we have, I think this goes right in hand with the perfect storm for leading us into digital assets. And then I'm going to take you into something else. But we're going to have a retirement crisis, okay? pensions. It's all built on a bunch of nothing. The credit situation in the world is all a big joke. The debts of the world, it's all been built up over time, and it's all been a big lie. I'm going to play you a very short clip from this guy. This guy started this channel. It's called Real Vision Finance. I want you to go and watch this video he did. He did it back in 2018. The Coming Retirement Crisis Explained and Explored with Raoul Pal. I'm just going to play a short section of this, and then I want you to go watch it yourself.
Thatcher basically allowed credit to be available to everybody. So suddenly the credit boom took off. So there we have two monetary booms happening at the same time. The baby boomers who've stopped saving have given a little bit of money from their 401ks to Wall Street that starts accumulating quickly. Their income has also then gone into credit, the servicing of credit to buy more and more goods. That trend continued for a long time. The trend of consumption within the US economy continues to this day. It's massively outsized because of this credit boom. That meant that Wall Street became outsized too. It was taking the money from the pension system and investing that, or speculating with it, and also making money from the credit side. Now that all ended in the complete blow up that happened in 2008. But why did 2000 happen? Well, interestingly enough, that's when the first baby boomers started retiring. When they started retiring, suddenly there were some sellers of stocks. Before that, everybody had been buying stocks every single month in their 401k. Buying the dip mentality became the key thing for the world. But the problem is now, we're facing the demographic time bomb. I remember when I was back at Goldman Sachs in the late 90s, some of my colleagues wrote an article called The Demographic Time Bomb. And that was about the issues the world will face in the future as retirees start retiring, and whether the state sector could afford all of the draw on the capital. Now, I'm not going to talk about the state sector in this particular presentation. We all know the story that there's too few millennials and younger people paying into the system to pay for these retirees. The maths don't add up, so the entitlements can explode. And these numbers can be in the hundreds of trillions of dollars. But I don't want to talk about that. I also don't want to talk about the defined benefit pension system. That's another big story that I think many of you are aware of. We've seen it all across America and all across Europe into the UK, where defined benefit pension schemes will never be able to afford to pay out the promises that they had to the retirees. You see, the returns in financial markets weren't quite as good as the snake oil sales.
Okay, I'm not going to go into that any further, but you want to see a fascinating video? Type in on YouTube, The Coming Retirement Crisis Explained and Explored. I'm going to re-listen to it today because I think it's such an important part of things. Now, I'm going to tell you, this whole channel is about what I think the answer to all this is, but I'm going to show you specifically what I actually did yesterday myself to add to what I'm doing. But check this out. So Ian Northing, first, I just wanted to show you this just as more absurdity. Look at this. Breaking federal spending set new records through January. The U.S. government spent more and borrowed more from the Federal Reserve than any other time in history. All of this is a time bomb, folks. Now, this leads me into what I'm going to tell you about, and you listen closely here. This is an article, I believe yesterday. Yesterday. Bitcoin IRA announces 25% lower rates and reduced account minimums for 2020. Now, Bitcoin IRA is a company, and I did a lot of research on this before I went down this road. Bitcoin IRA is a company who lets you invest directly into digital assets. Well, I went and looked at Bitcoin IRA. This is Bitcoin IRA's website. When I first found this, I went all over this website and looked for what the fees were with Bitcoin IRA. And then I started looking to see if there were any other companies where I could invest directly in digital assets through an IRA. Eventually I found what the Bitcoin IRA fees were. Now, what I just showed you is they announced yesterday in a Yahoo Finance article that they cut their fees by 25%. So I want to show you what their fees were. Okay. This is Bitcoin IRA's fees. This is what they were. So let's say you put $100,000 or more, they would charge you 10%. I put together an example and put this against the company that I went with, which is iTrustCapital, this is like the no-brainer of the IRA world and what I'm about to show you. These are just, and in this example, all I'm talking to you about is these fees. I'm not even getting into these custodial fees. I'm about to show you an example and show you one company versus the other and what I'm doing. And I literally put another few $1,000 from my Roth IRA into an iTrustCapital IRA yesterday, and I'll show you how this works. So look at this. So this is what I want you to remember. Their fees. So if you give them $100,000, they take 10, and this is before their announcement of 25% they're lowering their fees 25%. If you put $100,000 in one of these IRAs, $100,000 cash, they would take $10,000 right off the top. So then you only have $90,000 to invest. Then they would charge you for the buy order. Let's say you're buying XRP, 5% of that $90,000, right? Okay. Well, they've decreased their fees by 25%. So let's use that. First, I want to show you, this is iTrust. Now, they're very transparent with their pricing. Look at what iTrust, this is the front of their website. They have pricing right here. You click on it. It comes right here. $29.95 a month plus 1% instead of 5% when you hit the buy on that XRP. Now, let's look at this obvious no-brainer. And I went over this with my father, and he was like, well, shoot, that's an easy decision. This is an example I put together, $100,000 invested, Bitcoin IRA. The fees as they were, 10% of 100,000. So you'll pay 10,000 right out of the gate. Now the 25% lowering of their fees that they announced. So now you're only going to pay them $7,500 to Bitcoin IRA. Then they did have a 5%. I'm just assuming that they lowered their 5% buy on the trading fee to 3.75%, which is minus the 25% lowering. Okay. So now you're going to pay 3.75% to buy that XRP once you have it. With iTrustCapital, you're going to pay $29.95 a month, and you're going to pay 1% trading fee when you buy that XRP. That's it. You're not going to give them $7,500 on that $100,000 when you first buy it. I mean, folks, do the math. Math is easy here in this case. So anyway, I tell you all that, and I'm not on top of it being this inexpensive to go with iTrustCapital, which I've already done. I've worked it out with iTrustCapital so that you can get 1 month free. Go in the description of all of my videos, or just use this code right here, this coupon code right here. I've also got a link, and if you want a better understanding of how it works, I've even put an interview that I did with iTrustCapital's Blake Skadron right there in the description of all my videos. You can find all of this. Folks, the money that I invested in my iTrustCapital Roth IRA, I'm going to say this really loud for you, will never be taxed. Let me repeat. The money that I invested in XRP in my iTrustCapital Roth IRA it's already been taxed, but now any gains on this XRP will never be taxed. Ever, folks. Buys, sells, when I take it out, never. In other words, my children will never be taxed on that. So I want to finish this up by showing you this. This is the last day on this. This is also in the description. Ledger Nano S's. This is you buy Ledger Nano X for Valentine's Day. Get a free Ledger Nano S. And finally, stamp this into your mind, folks. To be in the 1%, you must do what the 99% won't. Right now, folks, 99% of the population doesn't even know what XRP is, and certainly hasn't bought it. You are right now doing what 99% of the people weren't willing to do. I've been doing it since 2013, and I believe that we're all going to be rewarded. I'm the digital asset investor, and I'm sorry for making this video so long, but I am the digital asset investor, and I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that the digital asset investors iTrustCapital Roth IRA will never be taxed. Thank you for listening.